on. Record this. Okay, we're on. Did that come up on your side saying this is recording?
No,
Perfect. We're good.
perfect.
Okay. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Technician Podcast. Today, I have got Temika Hill. Now, I might not have met her in person yet, or even met her in general, but I feel like we know each other and have known each other for many years. Epic human. What she does is very special. And I'd love to welcome you to the podcast today, my friend, and just introduce yourself and what you do in a very small nutshell, essentially.
Thank you for having me. So, small nutshell, I love this. I am a psychic medium. I focus a lot on obviously being psychic and medium and then bringing those coexisting specialties in helping people with grief. So, I see them coexisting together because when they come to me for mediumship, let's say, they're speaking to a passed over loved one, which then can help them with grief. So, they're my kind of niches. I love to, dive into death and stuff like that. However, two main pillars are those things.
Beautiful. And Tamika and I were having an epic conversation before we even started. Well, it's already been recorded, so we might be able to launch that on the back end like a bonus episode. And
Yeah.
just trying to normalize the conversation around grief a little bit more, because as we just touched on with those topics, I don't think, and we know that people don't really know much about what grief actually is
Mm.
and how powerful it can be when it's talked about and implemented and learned the right way. So, my question to start this whole conversation, I've gone through and found out quite a bit about you, but I'd love to obviously uncover that today together. But the one thing that I found really interesting, so you found out or realized you were psychic at 9 years old and
Hmm.
you buried that part of you. Now, what I realized was that most people would have leaned into that and you ran. So I'd love to talk to you about this. Like, I want to start there. Why were you so afraid of that and what people would see in you?
Yeah. It was so interesting because when I experienced it at that age, I was like, first of all, it didn't click to me that I was psychic or a medium. It was more mediumship then because I was talking to dad who's passed over. And, I was like, this is normal. I thought it was so normal to speak to someone that's passed over at the end of my bed or see him in the street and just have these kind of vivid pictures of him and talk to him all the time. And then as I kind of got older, it's almost like I tapped out of it due to fear of being judged. I always had my beautiful like crystals and I was like, Mom, can we get a crystal? And it was all these beautiful like little inklings of spirituality. But then I hit teenage years and I was like, that's fucking weird.
Do you remember that first moment someone said that where they're like, "What are you on about, you absolute weirdo?"
I actually remember getting like quote unquote bullied for having, I think I took crystals to primary school or something like that. And they were like, why the fuck do you have rocks? And I was like, like they're crystals. Um,
Oh,
and I just remember my little heart being so kind of broken. And I remember it being almost like the best way to explain it is a closet spirituality girl. I had all these beautiful things at home. I really loved it, but I didn't speak about it.
yeah, because obviously it wasn't very common for. Was there anyone else like you? Was there anyone that you felt you could talk to about it?
No, my mum was pretty good. Like, mum's quite spiritual, so she was really helpful in that sense. But if I'm talking about friends or like any other family members, absolutely not.
This makes me wonder, dude, how many little girls and boys do you think have this gift that never rediscover it because it's shut down during that time where those sort of things will be bullied out of you? Like, I know for myself, I've picked up an old hobby that I used to have. I remember coming to school one day and I went to a big school up here on the coast after growing up in a small country town. So, a small country town, I was the big dog, huge, giant kid, good at sport, all the things loved by everyone. So, I come into the new big pond and I was a small fish. And I was faced with so many different things about what shoes I wear, what bag I wear, how do I dress. And then I remember going to a class one time and I was really excited to make friends. And as we walked out of class finished, I went to my bag at the like little racks and I said to one of the boys, "Bro, check this out." And I had my little Warhammer magazines and he's just like, "Oh, you a Warhammer dork? What a dork!" Full like pointed at me, laughed, and the other boys joined in like, "Ah, Warhammer," and just like full. And I just remember like putting that away and going, "Well, never doing that again."
Yeah.
And only until now, as who I am as the technician and Trav, that gladly go, hey guys, I love Warhammer. This is what a lot of my branding is about. I fucking love the lore about it, and I play the game, and I just own that shit. Whereas back then, completely gone. So, how the hell did you maintain this gift, this magic that was shown to you, and kept it all the way now to what? You're only like early 20s or something, yeah?
Nah, I'm 31. However, I
There you
didn't tap
go.
into it until like 27, like properly.
Right.
Yeah. I kind of, yeah, it's like I did it behind closed doors and I definitely would have suppressed it for so long and almost kind of closed myself off to it. And then 2020 hit and it's almost like it banged on my door. Like I'm talking like it was loud. It was almost like I couldn't, if I ran from it, it was going to grab me and pull me straight back. So I was like, okay, I'm doing it.
Can you give us a visceral sort of visual of that? Because I know there's going to be so many people listening going,
Yeah.
what is it? What do you mean? Like, what are you seeing? What are you experiencing? If you can take us to that moment, maybe, or a moment that really stands out in 2020 where it's like, holy shit, I can't ignore this anymore.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I feel like 2020 awakened a lot of people, and spiritual awakenings in themselves are very interesting to move through. There's different elements of them. Mine was you're going to get shoved in the darkness. So I experienced like that deep depression. And it's really interesting the way it started. I actually got really bad acne. Like I'm talking, my whole entire face was completely covered. And I just like shame spiraled. I lived alone. We were going through COVID. I lived in Melbourne and my face completely broke out. And I literally locked myself in my house for 6 months. Yeah.
Do you think that was the force to be with yourself?
Yeah. Because I didn't see anyone. The only person I saw in that time, and it was because of my face, was my mum. I went to the shops and I'd put like a mask on, which was normal in COVID in Melbourne. And I'd wear like a hoodie and I'd do anything to avoid. And obviously in that time, it was like I had nothing else. And I just kept getting the feathers, the angel numbers. I had an owl at my back door, like on the fence. Just really weird things. And I started getting really inquisitive and I was like, okay, Google, what's this spiritually mean? And then bang, it was like, because I had to sit with that depth, the shame, all of those things that it was creating, it was almost like that was what started to bring me out of the suppression because I was sitting with everything I've kind of ignored for so long.
That right there is such a key moment for so many people because here they are thinking they're going to shut down the world and control us more. And yet
Hmm.
they unknowingly just sparked this entire spiritual awakening in all of us. Because the
Yeah.
same thing, I was locked away in my own townhouse because at the time I was with my partner who was Canadian and she couldn't come back to Australia. So I didn't know if I was ever going to see her again. So I went into this deep depression, lost my job, just couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't afford to live. So I just stayed in my house and I watched YouTube about the elites. And at the time, on YouTube, it was literally everywhere. They were talking about like all the stuff about Illuminati and all the kids stuff, all the stuff that's coming out now.
I was about to say, isn't that interesting? We're coming back to that right now.
It's all there, It's literally everything I learned about in 2020 that awakened me. That they're all calling us weirdos and like conspiracy theorists, etc., which is fine. I
Yeah.
get it, but and then I met Jordan Potts, who introduced me to Wim Hof and ice baths, and that physical somatic expression of what I help people do now awakened me. And that same thing. I've got videos in my phone, dude, from the last 6 years where there'd be a moment where I was out in the paddock out at mum and dad's, and there was a bunch of cows standing around, and then this giant bull just walks up out of nowhere. Now, a bull is my fucking animal. So I'm a Taurus. I love Chicago Bulls, Minotaurs, like everything about bulls. I love them.
Yeah.
This motherfucker had the number 29 in his ear. That's my birthday, 29th of April. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. And I just got goosebumps looking at this thing, and it
I have
literally
goosebumps now.
it was staring at me just like so calm, and I started getting emotional. And I remember the moment, and I've got it in my phone. If you remind me, I'll share it on my stories and show people.
Yeah.
And I remember literally after that is when everything started going crazy. The numbers, it was like you just said, something said, you're not avoiding this shit anymore.
Yeah.
You need to start doing what you're doing to begin this journey. So my question to you then is, because obviously mine was a bit different, and this is about you. You got shown this thing. You were forced into now what you do. What was your
Mhm.
first experience of then leaping into that and like doing what you do now?
So it's when I went through that like dark state, I was like, okay, I need to hire a mentor. I need help with this. And a beautiful mentor at the time was in my awareness, very spiritual, it was like all of a sudden she popped up on my social media. I knew of her back in my day, from being out in Melbourne and stuff like that. And she just kept popping up. And I'm like, all right, intuition, I'm following the nudge. And so I messaged her and started working with her and worked through the limiting beliefs and, all those beautiful things that kept me lower down. And then she held a psychic day. And I flew up to the Gold Coast before I lived here and went to this psychic day, and we all practiced being psychic. Bang. It's like it literally just came straight back online. And it just like a surge through my body. And she goes to me, do you realize how psychic you are? And I was like, yep. And it was just like it was literally like someone had flicked a switch in my brain and it just went, here we go.
What started happening from that point? If you could explain that for someone that's like always seen, like even yesterday I was having breakfast with my little brother, and where we're having breakfast, right next to it is this giant sign everywhere of psychic medium. She looks amazing. I was meant to see her, 100%. Like I've never seen that ever before.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sitting right there at this one place where we were going to meet up while his partner's in hospital, and my nephew's in hospital for my sister. So all
Oh my
these
God.
things that are happening that bring up those feelings of like, fuck, this is horrible. And here we are sitting right next to this giant door of like psychic medium. Can't remember her name, but shout out to that woman. And I just want to be able to explain to people like how important this stuff is and how life changing it can be. So,
Yeah.
what would you say to someone that's like, so what is it? What do you mean this light went on? How do you explain that to them?
It's almost like when you tap into your purpose and you can just feel it in your body. And it's like what came back for me, it's like that inner knowing, that inner trust of like, this is what I'm meant to be doing. It's hard to explain kind of what happened in the physical because it's not tangible and it's not that. However, it's like I just almost got this sense of relief of I'm on the right path. Because when we practiced, because we just practiced doing readings for each other, that person was like, you are so on point, it's actually crazy. So it was like the confirmation of this is it. It's like that beautiful landing. And I just went, oh my God, this is what I've been needing to do my whole life. And I experienced a lot of grief when I was younger, like 20 people, and I'm only like, I'm 31. High school was a lot of death throughout that. And that aspect, every single funeral that I went to, I was the supporting person of like, this is how you move through grief. And it's like I instantaneously knew, yes, there was experience, but even when my dad passed, it was the same thing. Like at 9 years old, I was just like, guys, this is how you move through grief. Like it's okay. He's in a good place. He's safe. And that just continued on. And that's kind of what flicked back to me when I had that moment. It was like I looked back at all the past moments and went, it all makes sense.
Do you feel like that's really helped you move through all this death you've experienced? Because I'm sure when you do these things for other people and you're allowing them to connect to people that have passed and etc., which we'll get into, but is there ever been a moment where you're like, I can't move forward because of all this grief? Or have you always been quite good at processing it and moving forward, etc.?
No, no. I always thought I was good, especially when I lost dad. I thought I'd processed it, but I didn't. And I held a lot of it in. And then even the other ones that I experienced throughout teenage years, I felt like I moved through them, but not properly. And then I got to a stage in my mid 20s where I just like felt nothing, like I was numb. It was like feeling everything and then feeling nothing. And I went to a psychologist and he said to me, you haven't actually processed any of your grief.
Explain that to someone right now listening, because they hear that thing of like, you got to feel your feels, man. Most
Yeah.
people don't even know how to feel their feelings. So if you could explain that a little bit about like what's the process of actually feeling your grief.
Yeah. Because for me, I suppressed a lot of things and I didn't show people when I was sad. It was like again, closet. I closet grief. I cry in the shower. I cry in my bedroom. The way I kind of started to, well, he was beautiful. He was like, I want you to go and do these things. So he got me to read a thing and he got me to sit with my feelings. It's just actually allowing it to come through your body. I think we can be so terrified of actually feeling it because we don't fully understand it. So we just go, nah, it's too much and push it to the side. But something really beautiful about grief is, yeah, it can be a lot to go through emotionally, but if you actually allow it to filter through your body, it's going to be less dense. Where humans get caught up is when they just keep suppressing it and then it just builds and builds and builds. And then it's almost like it pops and it's overwhelming.
How sick do you see people get during this time? Because what I've experienced when I'm supporting people with these kind of things, or whether they're working with a therapist alongside with me, I noticed that the most common combo is a lot of grief and a lot of anger. And then what you also see is a lot of chronic illness and sickness and breakouts. Do you see that a lot with people as well?
Yeah, I have full body chills. I've had a lot of people come to me because grief sits mainly in your heart and your lungs. And I've
Mm.
had people come to me when they've had heart stuff happening and lung things happening. And I'm like, instantaneously, I'm like, you need to go and process your grief.
And then are you seeing instant healing from that, essentially? Like, we don't want to make it sound like, you know, too crazy for someone to understand that this isn't possible, but it's like, hey, yeah, I've got evidence that I've told someone, shared someone, then seen them heal, and then 6 months later, that same thing that was a problem in the hospital or the doctor is healed.
Yeah. It can take a lot of convincing for people that don't fully understand it. However, when you kind of break it down to them about the emotions storing in the body, and even like something I love to do is getting it up and doing the metaphysical like symptoms that come up. Because if you put grief in straight away, it comes heart and lungs. I think there's another area it sits into. However, they're the two main ones. And even when you show people that, they go, it makes sense, right? And then it's like tying into the person, okay, so when did you start experiencing these symptoms? Or not long after that person passed. I'm like, is that a coincidence? Because there's no such thing. My belief is that there's no such thing as coincidence.
What's your biggest pushback you get when you say those sort of things?
Oh, it depends where they are in their season of grief because there is so many different elements of grief. You know, you've got the anger, you've got the bargaining, you've got the depression, which I don't like to word it as that. It's just sadness, but for some reason they've graphed it as depression. You know, it depends where they're sitting. When they're bargaining, it can be a bit of a, you don't know what I'm experiencing. And then it's kind of like, but I do. Yeah.
Is it hard not to take that personally sometimes when someone allows their anger, which is clearly, you understand why they're angry and the
Yeah.
loss they've experienced, but is it hard to sort of shield yourself from a lot of the projections you may receive around that?
Depends on the person, which is really interesting. And I think my heart just goes, I know what you're experiencing and I just want to help you. I think that's where I feel the projection the most because I'm like, I just want to help. However, grief is that thing where sometimes people will just shut out and they don't want to hear it. However, a lot of the time people come back to me later down the track and be like, you were right about this, or I see your point now. Like it just depends where they're at in their journey as well, which I have to zoom out sometimes and recognize that.
I've been the same, where there's a movie I quoted the other day in a podcast where it's Tom Cruise one, where it's like, you can't handle the truth. And
Mm,
it's so true for so many people because their nervous system might not be ready to hear what I've got to say.
yeah.
And I'm learning to discern between that. I'm really good now, but when I first started, I could see their shit within like 10 seconds. I'm a pattern recognizing machine. It's what I've done for my entire life, being neurodivergent. But now I've weaponized it as a coach, and it's now in business, it's in relationships, it's in money. I can see it straight away, but I need to learn when do I drop this? When can they handle this? But normally they can handle it a lot easier with me because I don't know if you've seen that reel that I put out where it's like, if you've got your own personal Indiana Jones, you feel safer to face that cave. It's kind of
Yeah.
like their window of tolerance is much bigger because this guy in front of them has already experienced most of what they have. So they trust him, which
Yeah.
creates self-trust and self-safety. And they're like, let's go there, Trav. fucking rip me apart. Do you get that too? Because you've got this really trusting, like I've known you for years kind of energy. Do you
Mm.
find a lot of people open up to you straight away?
Straight away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And especially like it's really beautiful. I love it. And a lot of people that are really hard to crack when it comes to grief, it's almost like even if they have a session with me or have a like get a mediumship reading, I just see everything come out. And it's like they just be like, I'm never like this. It's like that beautiful safety because I'm like, I know what you're experiencing. Like I'm not just a psychologist helping you through this that hasn't experienced it. I've actually gone into the depths. I'm pretty sure I was born into grief and brought into this world to help people through it. Like I know it better than I know myself sometimes.
Yeah, and I resonate with that. It's that, the professionals and the therapists, they have their space and they're definitely helpful, but
Yeah.
it can't be beaten by lived experience because there's a co-regulation within the nervous systems. It's like they know you know what they're experiencing, and they're
Yeah.
like, you get this. I get that sentence so often. I'm sure you do too, where it's like, yeah, you get this, don't you? And then that instantly, and like, let me tell you fucking everything. With that, I'd love to know because I'm sure there's people listening right now that are like, could I come see you? So what it's telling me is like, do you get anyone from say like a 60-year-old like really spiritual woman to a 22-year-old tradie? Is that your level of like discrepancy between who comes and sees you?
It literally can be anyone. Like it is the it's the best because you don't know what you're going to get. It's always a different person. I've had a lot of elderly people, I've had young people. There's no kind of structure to it because everyone is going to get something from this, especially if you've lost someone.
Do you get a lot of word of mouth?
Yes.
That's what just dropped in. Then it's like you're the person that someone loses someone and they're instantly like, dude, you need to go see such and such
Yeah.
straight away. Because like when I talk about what I do on Instagram, I think it can be quite intense and scary for a lot of people. They're like, I don't want to see Trav. Fuck that. He's going to tell me everything I don't want to know.
He's going to tell me about my shadows. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't want to be seen. That's terrifying. And some people watch me for years before they say yes.
Yeah.
For yourself, do you find that is there a lot of people that still see your content and go, you know what, I will reach out to her?
Yeah, a lot of people is definitely still like a little bit weary. Like it's funny, especially the psychic part. They're like, "You're gonna tell me I'm gonna die? Like, can you read my thoughts?" I'm like, "No, guys, like it doesn't happen like that." I do often get, I've been wanting to book with you, but I haven't felt the time yet, and then they'll book. It's almost like this gravitational pull. Like people just come to me and they'll say, "I don't know why I'm booking. I just felt like it was you." Like I get that a lot, and I feel like it's just energetics. Like people just come into my awareness when the time is right, because you do need to be somewhat open to receive the information that's going to come through.
Yeah, that's probably the next question of like, let's say someone just lost their mum last week. Would
Yeah.
they have to wait typically a while before they're ready to actually go into this sort of stuff? You find that it's not going to land. If you've just lost your parent in the last
Yeah.
week, don't come see me. Give yourself some time and then let's talk about it when you're a bit more stable.
Yeah, I always recommend to people give yourself at least 4 weeks so you could kind of go through the grief and learn through it. In saying that, like if someone reaches out for help with grief, of course I'm gonna, give them some advice and help them through that. However, yeah, with mediumship, I always recommend, even if like relationships end and stuff like that, I'm like, give yourself a grieving period. So then when you come to me, you can kind of receive the information in a clearer level. And also allowing the person's passed over to have their bit of a journey in the afterlife.
Oh, what you just said then's interesting is that yeah, grief isn't just about losing people, right? It's the other identities lost and things like that, which we touched on before. It's like I was saying to Tamika, for anyone listening, there's a few topics we're going to touch on today, but this one came up where it's like grief is an identity thief. So when someone dies, who else dies with them? Like what versions of you died when that person passed? What's your take on that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's so interesting because if you think about it, when we do lose someone, and this is relationships, this is friendships, this is a job, like it doesn't have to be around death. Again, another
Pets, your dogs?
everything, yeah. Like, and I think this is another thing we get a little bit caught up on is we think grief is just associated with death, but it's not. You grieve the version of you that you used to be. You grieve, friendships, relationships, everything we just spoke about. So there's always an identity change that comes when you experience grief.
What's the identity shift you see in most people? What's
Mm,
that? What's that process they go through?
I feel like a lot of people can lose themselves in the grief.
Oh, how does that look?
So it's almost like I see a lot when people kind of get caught in the loop of grief. It's like they don't remember that they can still be them when they're grieving. So they can still be happy. They can still live their everyday life. It's almost like they think that they have to constantly evolve around the grief rather than letting it flow through them.
Wow, that right there is probably one of the most common things you see. A lot of people will almost. So I just saw someone actually. This is perfect. Of course, this is happening right now. I just saw someone post the other night that I've been watching. Right, I know they've wanted to work with me for a long time, and
Yeah.
they've just lost someone close to them. And I'm watching how they're processing it. They're posting it live on socials. There's no judgment on that, but what I'm seeing is that I can tell that they're putting it up like I'm okay, guys. Don't worry about me. Like they have to be the tough, strong, hectic, business entrepreneur person who's like the leader.
Mhm.
I'm strong. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. But that doesn't need to be that way, right? If anything, that just perpetuates the cycle of all that stuff.
It's exactly what I did when I was little.
Mm.
I did that. I'm the strong one. I'll help everyone through it. I'll do this. I'll do that. Learned very quickly that that is not the way to go through it.
How'd you let your guard down to let people in?
It was really challenging, to be honest. Like I held that mask for a very long time. And it was almost teaching myself that it's okay to like people to see me in grief. And the moment I allowed people to see me in it, it just opened up everything. And it's so interesting because, my dad passed when I was so young, but like it didn't actually come out of my body until I was like maybe 23, 24.
What did that do to your body? When you felt that shift, what
Yeah.
happened there?
I experienced in a few different things like personal development rooms, breath work. Breath work was a really interesting one. I seen him quite vividly and spoke to him, and it's almost like I remember him saying to me, "You can let go now. You don't have to be the strong one." And I remember that my body almost like it was like an elephant had been taken off my chest because I had space for things to come in, and it was just a profound moment. I was like, wow, I have been storing this for so fucking long.
Your life must have changed instantly when we talk about how the heart resonates within the world around us and the
Yeah,
field that it puts out. Is that what you notice straight away? Is that
right
new
away.
opportunities, new people, those type of
Yeah.
things?
Yeah. Being able to receive, like, receivership was a big thing. Like, I really struggled to receive hugely. I wouldn't let anyone help me. So far from in my feminine energy, it was masculine as fuck. And the moment I let that down, it was like, okay, it took time. I'm not going to say it was, straight away. However, it allowed me to receive and be held and let people see me that in the grief. And then I remembered this is how I teach people that it's okay to be seen in it.
Because I remember reading somewhere in there that you just mentioned that word, the masculine side of things. You were very corporate, like during
Yeah.
your 20s and stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
How did that play out? Like, did you have to, again, bringing back the closet of just like, we're not going to let anyone see this version of Tamika during this time? Was that a lot of that too?
Yeah. Corporate, I don't know how I survived. I was in corporate for 8 years and I have no idea where the fuck I was in that time. Like, I'm like, what, how did I manage that? But yeah, it's the same thing. It was like closet, closet. And then I remember I was like, no, fuck it. You can all go, like Melbourne, corporate in the bin. See ya. I'm out. And just left that entire life behind.
Were you having people in the office around you losing people during that time?
Interesting question. No. All the death was a lot in my teenage years, like from like 15 to 25.
Because what I just thought and saw was like, it must be so hard for you sometimes because do you just get tap ins just walking around?
I
Okay.
used to. I love this question. I get it all the time. I used to, but I've taught myself to consciously tap in and out because otherwise I would just be getting influx. The only time it really happens is if I'm doing a reading for someone, I might get it like, say I've got a reading for them in the afternoon, they might pop in like a couple of hours before, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not ready yet. Like they're not in front of me. Um, but yeah, I've really taught myself because if I did, I think I'd be walking around the streets and I'd have people of the past coming like through my channel and being like, go tell this person at cafe that I'm here. And I'm like, that's a bit of an integrity thing for me as well. Like I don't want to just walk up to someone and, tap them on the shoulder and tell them that. So I've really taught myself to consciously tune in and out. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, wow. That just reminded me of something because I feel like I've never truly tapped into my gifts. I think I have versions of this
Yeah.
where, especially last year, I was really dialed in for some reason. And I said to someone that I'd just kind of met, I'd known them a bit and we'd built a rapport, they'd known me. And I just had to ask for consent first and be like, bro, do you mind if I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And I just said, like, what happened to you when you were 7? And he just broke down crying and told me about this insane thing that no one would know about. But I was getting told exactly what that thing was, and I just wanted to see if he was okay to share it. And I
Yeah.
held him in that and just talked about it and for a little bit, and I just thought, damn, this must be what happens without me realizing when I'm in my sessions. As much
Yeah.
as it's the pattern recognition, it's the psychology, it's the shadow work, it's the Jungian stuff. There must be some form of what we're talking about here, where it is that connection to something higher.
It's your intuition and it's your channel, you're getting information. Like the way I see it is it's just intuition. We all have access to this. It's just choosing if you want to or not. Everyone can channel.
Yeah, I believe that too. So what? Okay, so let's say you're speaking to me.
Yeah.
What would you tell me to start doing to be able to be open more to that channel for it to be open?
Yeah. I think just recognizing it's first of all trusting your intuition and knowing when it's intuition versus fear. That's the thing I teach
Mm,
people a lot. It's like, how do you decipher when it's actually intuition or when it's fear? Intuitively, you should receive things very directly. You should feel very calm. It's like straight down the line. It's not that fuzzy kind of when you're overthinking and it's fear. It's like, oh, but what about this? And what about that? And what about this? It's like constantly clicking. Intuition, channeling, very direct, very clear. There's no second guessing it. And it comes through the way I experience it. It's like it comes through once and it's just like, there you go. So when it's fear, I notice it's like I'll constantly hear it and I'm like, I'm overthinking this.
yo, that makes so much sense. So much sense because when I'm in a session and I'm getting those channelings, I'll
Yeah.
be like this. I'll be like, I can remember just recently last week. I'm talking to my client. He's chatting. I've asked the question. We're diving a bit deeper, and then it just hits me. I'm like, bro, holy shit,
Exactly.
this is it.
Yeah.
Oi, and I'll get up, and be like, oi, listen to this. Are
Yeah.
you ready? And then I'll tell him, and he'll just be sitting there going, how the fuck could you know that? That's it. That's the thing, and it could be a lifelong pattern that they've never been able to overcome, and
Yeah.
that thing has just gone zoop. And I've said it, as you said, with confidence and directness. It
Yeah.
was received the right way. They were ready for it, and that's the life changing stuff. So I'm assuming that's what you do in every session.
It's teaching people that because it's like you all have access to this, right? And it's like the thing that humans get so caught up on is trusting it. It's the self-trust. Because if you don't trust it, you then overthink it. The thing that makes me such a great channel is I trust myself and the information that comes through 100%.
How do you trust yourself so much? Why are you so certain? How'd you become like that?
Practice, beautiful practice. And it's almost like every time I do a session, how the fuck do I know that information? That is the trust because I'm like, that is not made up, especially when it comes to mediumship. How the fuck did I know your pop lived in a white house in the country and sees 3 trees and he saw a cockatoo every morning? How the fuck can I make that up?
Even just that, you were pretty close to what my granddad used to do, to be honest.
Stuff like this. I literally said to a client the other day, she was on a call and we are talking about her pop, and I was like, oh yeah, like maybe a fishing t-shirt or something. She's like, my mum literally sent me a photo of my pop fishing 2 days ago. And I just said that willy-nilly.
let's not dance around this. I think anyone listening right now wants to see you do this thing. I don't want it to be like Dance Monkey kind of vibe. I want to ask to say what you
Yeah.
just said then was very close though to Grandad. And I'm like, something's open clearly, and I'm getting emotional even asking. Yeah, I guess I'm open right now to if anything is coming through with Grandad, or whatever is coming through for whoever it is, because I can feel it in my fucking heart.
Mm. Was he quite tall?
Yeah, yeah, around about 6 foot, big dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and quite like not wide, but like big build.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the saddest part was that, and this really hurts Dad, is that yeah, he was a big dude, always was. He was a wood chopper, and by the end of it, I kind of wish I never went and seen him because he looked like a prisoner of war. Like he was so skinny and just not the man that I'd known for 36 years. So it was tough.
Yeah. And it's something that can be quite challenging when we do see them in that state and their body has changed. I can feel his energy. This is something that happens regularly on mediumship. I can feel their energy and I can feel like this is what I mean. I can feel his height and almost the width of his body. And maybe this is when he was in that healthier state. Feels like he was very nurturing, but also very like masculine at the same time. Like soft on the inside, but was very much hiding that and probably only really showed it to your like the grandkids.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, he
Yeah.
literally. My brother and I were talking about this yesterday, where he was such a strong man that would just, go out to the bush, do his thing. He was a policeman when he was younger, had to retire from that because of some stuff that happened, and he really struggled with PTSD.
Yeah.
And he never really spoke about that until later in life. But yeah, just such a like strong man, but there was that softer side that he really showed to, especially our youngest brother Clay, and yeah, especially the grandkids. He was an incredible great grandfather, but just like he would hold that. He felt like he had to be always strong and just wouldn't let himself talk about that other stuff, which I think, with what I know, would have helped him so much. But again, it is what it is, I guess, too.
Yeah. Do you see white cockatoos a lot?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
annoyingly, like they're always like you can hear them constantly.
I just saw him today. I was it was like a flock of them, and I can't remember where I was coming back from, but I was like, okay, I saw that for a reason, 100%.
That's him. Yeah.
Fuck.
Was he a little bit cheeky, like a little bit funny sometimes? Do you have a bit of?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
He's
I'm feeling.
so cheeky, dude. He
Yeah.
used to dress up in costumes and shit, and he was the funniest dude. And that's I miss that. I miss that. He'd come up home and just like, yeah, just have a beer and just like talk shit. And I miss that stuff because we're in this space where people talk about like men's work
Yeah.
and what a safe man is and all this other bullshit. And it's like most of you guys don't even know. You judge all these people that might drink beer or do these manly things, and they're not as conscious as these blokes that wear beads around their neck and a flowy linen shirt. And yet he was one of the best men, as much as he had his things, and he said some things that might have been a little bit racist sometimes. I'm like, that's not great, dude. But there was these sides of him where I was like, dude, you are a good, strong man, and you're the type of person that I want to see more of. And I miss that part of him.
I feel like I have full body tingles right now. I feel like you channel a lot of him through you. So a lot of the traits and the beautiful things you see in him and the way he treated you, you channel that through you.
Yeah, I feel that. It's only a couple of months ago or so, I had this huge download that I need to get a tattoo of him, but it's a hybrid version of like him as a Viking, because my dad's side, which granddad's side, Scottish, so Lowland Vikings or Scottish Lowlanders, the Cochrane clan, which had an E on the end. We don't have an E on the end, but
Yeah.
I've now gone into that and seen it's all the same. We're all the same family, and I saw this picture of this Viking, and then I saw this picture of Grandad at the wood at the show chopping with his axe. I was like, "That's him. That I just have to get that in that style." and I remember just bawling my eyes out, and I remember hearing what our clan like saying is, and it's like "Vetut et labor," so it's like through hard work we get what we deserve, kind of thing. It's like through
Yeah.
labor and hard work and grinding.
Yeah.
And I just think, man, our whole family are just a bunch of people that just fucking work hard. And I definitely feel that energy in him where some days I don't feel like doing it. And I just go, well, this guy kept going and kept chopping until he was like 80 something years old. So I got nothing to whinge about, essentially.
Yeah. When you were talking about the tattoo, then I just heard in my ear. He was like, "Fuck yeah, get it."
That's cool.
Yeah. And he
Okay,
sends
that's
you
all I
the,
need confirmation.
yeah, deep confirmation, and he sends you the cockatoos to piss you off sometimes. That's why I was like, was he a little bit cheeky? Because I'm feeling a bit of attitude. Like, this is the thing with this work. It's like every time it's so different, and the energy can be so different. Like, and I feel it straight away. It's like, how do I, this a prime example, how the fuck did I know any of that information?
Yeah, and it's enough for me to feel solace in connecting with him in some way. You know, like look at what I just started talking about with you sharing those things, and straight away I go, I need Dad to call you and have a Zoom chat or something because he's really struggling with that.
Yeah.
And he says things like he talks to him all the time because you know we grew up where our house was here, and just down the paddock was Grandma and Granddad, and Dad used to love dropping in and seeing them every day. It was that like that's just people might say, oh, he's got attachment wounds or things like that. It's not. It's just that's how he grew up. He loved connecting with his mum and dad,
Yeah.
and he says things lately where he's like, yeah, but you know your grandfather's been talking to me a lot lately, and Dad never used to be like that. He never be used to be open to potentially, you know, the things that I talk about. So to hear him say those things, and then my youngest brother, literally 2 weeks ago, messages me and goes, "Man, what's a spiritual awakening? I feel like I'm having one." And then sent me a Google screenshot, and I'm like, "Yeah." And I think what's happened is that Granddad's essentially like having them do this because not only are they feeling like then they still have connection to him, but he's probably like speaking to them without them knowing it, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. I always say grief is a portal. It is a portal. It is a thing that opens people up to this kind of, and it doesn't have to be the version of what I do. It's just opening them up to know that there's something bigger than this. There's something more, you know? That's what I love about it because it really awakens people. It strips everything back.
Something that just dropped in was Xavier Rudd's Spirit Bird. Have you heard that song?
Yeah, I cry every time.
Yeah, so that just is he talking about a cockatoo in that?
I reckon it's like an eagle or something, to be honest. Maybe.
What bird is it about? Let me do a quick little Google for anyone listening. A red-tailed black cockatoo. So it's like inspired by a profound personal encounter with an old female black cockatoo in the Kimberley, which Rudd described as a spiritual experience that delivered a message from the land and his ancestors.
Wow.
Damn. Yeah, because like I'm hearing that sound of the cockatoo in my ear right now, so it's almost like that's my connection to Granddad. And
Yeah.
by you saying that, it's like I already knew it, but for you to confirm that, it gives me so much like happiness knowing now when I see it, I can see him like giggling and being like, haha, suck shit kind of thing, which is cool. So, because people are asked, like, you know, what's the benefit of me finding out from this woman what my past grandfather is saying? Well, you guys have just seen it. You guys have just seen what the benefit is. You can sit there and go, is it real or not? It's irrelevant.
Hmm.
It literally is irrelevant, is it? And I'm sure you've had these comments before where it's like, oh, you know, why do you do that? What's the point? It's like, well, you've just seen that for firsthand. And do you get
Yeah.
these responses a lot of from people when they do it?
Yeah. It's the best feeling ever. This is honestly, it makes my heart so warm every time. These moments like this is why I'm here on this earth. Like, it seems so simple to some people or like so taboo. But the minute I connect someone to someone that they're past, that's passed over, it changes them, whether it's instantaneously, whether it's 5 months down the track, because how do I know that information from them? And how do I get it right every time? Like,
All the good things have skepticism to it.
absolutely.
All the good things, dude. Like I would be concerned if people didn't say, "Oh, this is bullshit." You know,
Yeah.
like same for my stuff. Same for any 5-star restaurant or something. There's always going to be a couple of 1 stars because there's people that have their own personal experience of the world.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
we said before, there might be people listening to you and going, "Nah, it's bullshit," because they don't want to be open to it.
Yeah.
They're terrified that if they actually connected, they might even have to also let go of the version of them that's been in that grief portal, right?
Yeah.
So when this happens, there was a topic we touched on before. Where does someone live in the body after they're gone? I saw you light up before. We were like, where do they normally sit? Not only within the person you're talking to, but does your body light up a bit when you get in the connection?
It's so different each time. Every experience is different with who comes through and the way I feel like I channel. And when it comes to mediumship, psychic is a bit different. Mediumship in particular, it's like they come into my body, not physically, however, energetically. So then they can talk to the person that I'm with. I'm just like the middle woman. It's really beautiful. However, I can feel things differently. So, say for example, let's go. It was a grandma, and I would say to the client, like, did your grandma used to like put her hand on your shoulder? Or did you used to get hugged from behind? Was it very like firm hugs? Was it gentle? I feel all of that in my body. So then it's like I feel it and then experience it and then send it to the client because it's almost like how the past over loved one is connecting to me, but everyone's different. Like sometimes it smells, voices, touch. Again, dependent.
Dude, this has got me so excited. So, first of all, thank you. Okay, so let's explain this.
Yeah.
I had a phone call with one of my closest mates the other night, just last week. Just had a full day of clients. I was still on. You know, when I'm on, I'm on. And he just said these couple of words, and like I've been meaning to say this to him for a while. Where I'm like, bro, you're too nice. And the reason I know that is because I was the same.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I had my whole body just activated, and I'm like, fuck, I think this is where I need to do this with him. And we're talking back and forward. Called him a couple of really hard truths where he was like, he wanted to defend it. So I was like, okay, the ego's activated. I need to go. Let's go. And
Yeah.
I said, brother, just trust me in this. And he's like, yep, of course. Because everything I've helped him with, he's just gone to the fucking moon just listening to my stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, just lay down on the couch for a second. And I just could hear these words. Now, this isn't someone that's passed. This is someone that's with him. It was his mum. But his dad had passed.
Mm.
But well, what I was getting told was to say these words to activate what was really true in the moment. And I just said, close your eyes, take a deep breath. And I just channeled like his mum's exact fucking words she used to say all the time and still does. He said, you're my good little boy, aren't you? You help me with everything. All these, like, just that exact line. And he just instantly started crying and bawling and like feeling that realization of that, yeah, he's always been mummy's little boy, good little boy, even up now till he's in his 30s, which doesn't let him set boundaries. He agrees with everyone. He says yes to shit he doesn't want to say yes to because he's literally trying to stay connected to what those words meant to him when he was younger. Because when his dad passed, he had to step up as the man of the house.
Yeah.
So, of course, mum recruited him to be the man of the house and be the good little boy that helps her with everything.
Yeah.
She's not being evil or bad. That's just, she's doing the best she could.
Yeah. It's
So, in
crazy.
that moment, I literally said, all right, bro, well, you need to disconnect that good little boy because he's not serving you anymore. You're a father now. You're a man. You're a business owner. So, let it go. And we went through this process for the next 40 minutes. And so, is that mediumship or is that pattern recognition? Because I'm confused now.
I feel like because she's still alive, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I feel like it's both. Like
Mm.
mediumship is more you're channeling past over loved ones. You're still channeling. You're just channeling it's like the psychic connection, right? Because there's times where I'll do readings for people and I'll be like, you need to go see your mum. She's missing you and she's struggling. So it's like I tap into the timeline or the information that's coming through. It just, she's not past, but it's like similar. So that it's like the psychic connection. You're just
Yeah.
channeling the information that's come through.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool.
Yeah,
Thank you for that confirmation. I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
that. In that, in those moments, right? So we talk about exactly what you just said. What usually happens positively for people from these experiences? They come see you.
Yeah.
What do you normally see afterwards that happens?
Sometimes it can take time. However, with grief particularly, it's huge because people just want closure. At the end of the day, when you're grieving, people want closure, they want communication. A common question I get is, are they safe? It's probably the main one. And the minute that person hears that they're safe, it's like they can move forward, not let go of grief because grief is a forever journey, but it gets them to the next step. It's like moving forward from the grief, beautiful loop that can be experienced sometimes. But it's the relief of knowing that they're safe. And something I always give them is talk to them, communicate with them. You don't have to be a medium, you don't have to be psychic to talk to them. It's just energy. Their energy's transformed, they've left their beautiful meat suit, but their energy is still present with you. They just want you to communicate. You don't have to have a special connection to do that. You are connected. You are special. Ask for signs. Like every single call I do, I tell people, if you want to talk to the past over loved one, ask them for a sign. Be specific. Say blue butterfly next 24 hours. I guarantee you're going to see that. That then helps them with the grief because they're then connecting in and recognizing that they can talk to them too. So it's almost like a pillar of help for them to be like, oh, I can do this. And then it's like when they get the sign, it's the confirmation that this stuff is actually real. This
Mm.
person has not left. They're still with you. It's just different energy. Our past over loved ones are always going to come to us when we need them or call them. And you don't have to be in a state of distress or depression. You can be happy as Larry and still ask for signs.
That right there for our topic to go to next. The dead don't stay the same age. What's your go on that? Because as we said before we started this, it's like, yeah, we see so many memorials where it's like forever 6 years old or forever
Yeah.
15. What's your take on that part?
When they're in the afterlife, age doesn't exist. That's just in Earth. Like that afterlife has no timeline. I have no time is linear. Their soul has no age. They can be 20, they could be 50. They're not going to count what that is. They're just their soul, just like we are. Our age actually means nothing. It's how you feel in your soul, and it's the same thing when you pass over. You just leave your meat suit.
Because
Your meat
it's
suit is the age. That's how I see things, right? Your body is the age.
so they could now be, if energy cannot be destroyed, only transferred
Hmm.
and transformed,
Hmm.
they could now be another person, right? Someone else on this planet.
They could be if they reincarnated, yeah.
Because if they haven't finished their is it the karmic cycle or something like that,
Yeah.
where they'll
Yeah.
then have to come back to another lesson and all
Yeah.
these different things. And I've seen so many insane stories about where even dogs, like a dog has passed, they've
Yeah.
gotten a new dog, and that dog does the same shit their old dog used to do.
Yeah.
What?
Reincarnation.
How? Like, and again, like you can ask how and be like, I don't really want to know or care the exact science of it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, that's fucking epic, and I believe it's true.
Yeah. I think like obviously there's no tangible evidence, but I think when you cross over in the afterlife, you get a choice if you want to reincarnate or not. Whether that's to come do another lesson in Earth or help. Same when we get contracted to Earth. We choose if it's here for a lesson, to volunteer, whatever it is. I think when you go to the afterlife, it's the same thing. Maybe you want to stay in the afterlife. Maybe you want to go somewhere else. Maybe you want to come back here. I think you actually get a choice as to where you want to go when you pass over.
Grief is our honest mirror. What does it
Mm.
reveal about us?
Grief strips back everything. It strips back your ego, strips back how you thought you should be, the way you should show up. It really shows you who you truly are beneath all the layers because you can't hide when you're grieving. It'll rip you apart in the most beautiful way because you don't have the walls up. You don't have this ego protecting you because you're literally like the way I see it, it just strips everything back of you in the most beautiful way.
If someone's going through that process,
Yeah.
and let's say, for example, have you ever helped someone that's lost like a partner at a young age, maybe a husband or a wife, and they've passed from cancer or something horrible like that?
I don't know if I had someone like lose it when they were young in terms of partner. Maybe like there's so many people, my brain's like going for flight.
Yeah, yeah.
I've definitely spoke to someone who's lost someone to cancer. I know that for sure. They weren't young though. They were like 50s.
Because the reason I asked that, I think about so much around people who, let's say, yeah, when I say young, I'm talking they could only be like 40,
Yeah,
because I think that's still young. That's still like, you got half your life left to live still.
100%.
And not only do you lose that person, that physical representation of them, you lose so much more, the future you were building together. Like, I think about losing my partner and I go, well, holy shit, all these plans we had, all these goals and dreams, like we said before, that is the grief of not only a human being, but of your entire life in within yourself. How do people navigate that sort of stuff usually from what you've seen?
The thing that I would like, what I love to tell people is not live for them, but let them live through you. So it's like, okay, say you've lost your partner. Would your partner want you to fall in love again when you feel ready to and create that version with someone else? Yeah, it's going to look different. Grief will never leave you. However, you can't let it dictate the way you move forward. Because if
Mm.
we did, we'd all be stuck because everyone's going to die, right? So it's like the way I love to like channel things is how would that person that's passed feel if you were just stagnant and not doing anything and you're just sitting in the grief?
This was one of the questions I had here was like, do the deceased ever acknowledge the future they didn't get to be a part of?
Of course, of course. Like, of course they do. However, every single time I speak to someone who's passed over, they just want the best thing for the person that's grieving. They want them to be happy. They want them to live life and bring them in through and like bring them through energetically, right? Grief has taught me that life is fucking short. We don't have chances over and over again. We could go tomorrow, we could go in 3 weeks, but grief has taught me how fucking precious life is. Truly.
That is probably one of the main motivators for me on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Christina and I were talking about this, my last guest, where she's like, I'm quite grim in my views on this. And I said, I don't think that's grim. I think that's a really good way to live because you're honoring those people that have passed. We kind of said, how dare you not live for the ones that can't anymore? How dare you, I have a life because of my granddad. I wouldn't exist without him. And
Yeah.
if I were to have those days, I'm going to let myself be human some days where I'm like, I just can't get up today. But
Yeah.
in those days where I'm like, I need to go, I need to get up, it's like, of course, the best motivator is like, how dare you waste this life that your grandfather worked his ass off to give you?
Yeah.
And your dad and those people above you.
I say every single day to myself, I'm so grateful my dad's death happened. I'm so sad he's left. However, his timeline is his timeline. His death initiated me into this life. It
Mm.
initiated me into this work. His legacy lives within me, helping people through this stuff. It is my biggest motivator
Does your dad show up for you still?
all the time. But not all
Mm.
the time because it's kind of like he always does it when I'm driving. I'm a big car girly. Dad was a car man, loved his Holdens, put me on his lap at like 8 years old and I'm driving his Holden. And I'm like, this is the best thing ever. And motorbikes. Was on motorbikes with him since I was a little girl, like quite literally, photo of me on his motorbike
Oh,
next to
sick.
me.
Yep.
Anytime I'm on a motorbike, bang, he's channeling through me. I'll be like, he'll be telling me about this and that and what I should do next. He's very much guiding me. And when I'm driving in the car, long trips, he comes and sits next to me in the passenger seat and just will talk to me or chill out. I don't connect with him every day because I don't feel the need to because I know he's just there. He's also doing his own thing. But yeah,
There's something that's dropped in then as you're talking about that, because I'm sure he's watching you and just being like so proud of his little girl and what she's created, what she does, and what she stands for.
yeah.
But then it makes me think of other men, and it makes me think of like, how's your life been with dating? How's it been like with, because with what you do, can you then feel so much around whatever man you may meet, etc.?
hmm
Is it something
Yeah.
that you're open to talking about?
Yeah, I struggled a lot as well with dating for a long time, being in my masculine. Again, dad passed when I was so young. I took on the masculine role. Mum only had me. So they weren't even together when he passed. However, I just did it. It just happened. So I was very masculine for such a long time. And then even now, I have this beautiful feeling, and it keeps me in a loop sometimes of no one's ever going to compare to his love.
Mm.
And I struggle with that so much. And then I think, like, is anyone going to love me the way he loved me? Can that ever be compared? And I know he's got my partner and he's holding him on my highest timeline. And every time a man comes into my life, I'm like channeling dad and I'm like, okay, like, is this good? Is this bad? And he'll be like, just go have fucking fun, kid. Like, figure it out. But it is so challenging because being so intuitive, I can feel when things are moving, shifting, changing, and it's really challenging for me to be like, I have to let them do that on their own rather than me asking the question. There's a time and place. It's something I'm still navigating, especially over giving and holding the emotional weight. If they're going through something, naturally, I'm like, let me help you. That's still things I'm working through because I feel like it's obviously been there since I was such a little girl, but it's that beautiful comparison that can keep me in a loop.
It's such a cool topic because I think right now I have so many incredible female friends, clients, that are powerful women. And not to say that men can't be mediums and things as well. As you said, everyone's connected. And we have some of the most famous clairvoyants and mediums who are men. But
Yeah.
predominantly from my experience, it's women. And what I get the most feedback from friends and stuff is like, you've got these women who have done deep, deep, deep work on themselves, are super intuitive, can pick up on energy and what's going on and everything, right? And they find it really fucking hard to date because a lot of men aren't clued into that stuff.
Yeah.
From your experience, is that something that you hear from your friends as well that are connected as well?
Yeah. And the thing, it's like you move through so many different things being in this world. To be able to have someone that could hold me in me holding the grief is something I've found very challenging because it is a lot to move through. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like there's days where I'm like, this is a lot. Grief is a lot to hold, and for someone to be able to hold me in that is really important because the person that holds me in that is currently dad. Like when I'm navigating things, I can hear him in my ear and being like, you need to go and do this, or like he's still there helping me through that in an energetic way. Someone needs to live up to that standard.
Ooh, he's out there, 100%. He is. For
Yeah.
anyone listening, just know that so many of my clients have met incredible men, and it's definitely possible. It's just like moving through the time and space that you need to get to that point and trusting that it'll all work out. Hey, because like you're
Yeah.
what, you're only early 30s, you said? Yeah, so it's like, I think people, like you said, time's not even a fucking thing. The digits aren't even a thing. Like I remember driving down to the Gold Coast a couple of years back, and I've told this story a few times, but I think it's very relevant in how people judge themselves for these digits that exist.
hmm
And I get it's real. I don't want to discredit the fact that right now fuel and stuff's super expensive and it's ruining a lot of people's lives. I get that. But for me, my experience was I was driving down to the Gold Coast to run an insanely powerful workshop, change people's lives. I had barely any money in my bank account. And before this moment, I was judging myself on how much money I had in the account for how powerful I am in real life and what I do. And I saw these numbers going up on the browser and I was like, what the fuck? This has no bearing on what I'm about to go do. Why
Yeah.
have I ever worried about this? Why have I ever worried about how much this is going to cost me? Of course I'm going to make more money. Of course I'm going to be able to afford this. Of course. And it all started to drop in where I literally was seeing those digits. And, you know, when people talk about having their matrix moment where they're like seeing the system that they're within,
Yeah.
that happened where I'm like, oh, dude, none of this matters. Why? I'm not putting my pressure on this. I'm still being human in my tangible strategies and marketing and branding to run a smart business. But there's that other side of me that goes, bro, nothing matters. I'm 36 and in the best shape of my life in regards to mental health, physical health, everything. And yet, when I was early 20s, I was nearly dying because of the heart issues I had and all this other shit because I was depressed.
Yeah.
So that can tell you everything about what we've been told, how much time you've got, where the timeline needs to exist. And we're sitting here together saying none of it fucking matters, right?
I listened to a podcast yesterday and she was talking about unity. And unity is it's we are everything and we are nothing. Bang. I was like, fuck, the same thing. It's like I have days where I'm like, nothing matters, live life. And then the duality of the human being like, well, no, it's holding the duality of them both. And the same thing, duality of life and death, love and grief. Grief is just love.
Ooh, that's the clip right there. Because it is, isn't it?
Grief
It's literally.
is just love. If you didn't love someone, you wouldn't grieve them. And if you can carry that love and continue through life, they're still with you.
There was a little, because I love little quotes and stuff, and I saw this in a comment section. I can't remember which video it was I was watching of all these different mediums. And
Yeah.
someone said, when someone dies, the love doesn't stop, but the delivery mechanism is gone.
Oh,
Holy, that hit me. I'm like, damn, okay. And then it was like, some people redirect it to causes, to others, to work. Some people implode under the weight of it. And my question that I wrote after that was like, what do you see happened to that undelivered love in readings? Like, does the deceased receive it still? Is it felt on the other side, or this love that we're still trying to send them?
I think the thing they want us to talk to them, right? They want us to send them love. Yes, they can feel it, but it's really beautiful for them to receive it, like consciously. So it's
Mm,
like little moments of you're walking, right, and you see a cockatoo, let's use as the example, and you think about your beautiful grandfather, and you're like, I'm thinking of you, and you can just say it in your head. It doesn't have to be out loud. You don't have to make this big declaration. It's literally those micro moments. And it builds that connection like it's almost like the energetic wave back together. It's the same thing. Like I don't talk to dad every day, but I'll have moments of like, oh, like I'm thinking of you. They feel that instantaneously.
that's cool to know. That's really cool to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
For you, dude, obviously you've got these gifts and everything that's happening. Where do you feel yourself being pulled forward over the next few years with what you do?
Yeah. I really want to get onto stages. So David the Medium, love him.
That's
He's
who I was
great.
mentioning before. Like I see him on TikTok all the time with what's
Yeah,
happening.
he's absolutely incredible. The way I want to move forward with that is yes, 100%. He's great. I love how he does things. He's very beautiful and funny, and he gives it light energy, which is so great. The way I want to do it is get on stages and do the similar thing. However, also help people with grief. So give them the education of grief so they have tangible tools to go home with. Because the biggest thing for me is educating people on how to move through this with the mediumship coexisting in there.
100% that needs to happen
Yeah.
ASAP from today. Like it's,
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
so many people around me who are really struggling with the grief that they're experiencing. Like I process it quite well. I work through it. I let it come up where it needs to. I do my thing. But I see even my mum, you know, having lost her mum, my nan, and I said this to Christina as well. It's so interesting we're talking about this topic where my nan used to watch every football game, and she'd come and watch with her little camera, and we'd be trying to watch it, and like, Nanny, can you get a fucking tripod so we can actually watch the game? Because she'd just be like, "Go, Travis," and it's so hard
Cameras
to
moving
watch.
everywhere.
Yeah. I've seen all these old VHS tapes, and you're like, just, oh my god, I missed the 4K. But and I said to Christina, I said, I do picture her now, like doing her thing up there, watching me as well with a little camera still of like, go Trav, go, and
Yeah.
that's really cool. Like that makes me feel like something's happening. But I think for mum, she doesn't have those tangible takeaways like I do, and like the really practical ways. So I
Yeah.
think with you being able to give people those little rituals and ways to deal with it, I think that would really help people like her. So I'm really excited to see what you do.
Yeah. And you think about it, like, we don't get educated on this shit. There is no education on it at all. And that's why people get so stuck in the loop is because they don't actually know what they're experiencing. Like it's so taboo, like I was saying earlier, this is so taboo. And something I say all the time is like, you look at different cultures, they have rituals, they have things that they do when people pass over. I know like certain places do different things, but that helps them with the grief because it's almost like they have something to do after, where Western culture feels like they just go, well, like they go into shock and then they drink or they'll ignore it. There's no process. So they just get stuck in the limbo because they don't know what to do.
So true, dude. You've made me realize today, this conversation, just literally, this could be one of the top 5 things that people need to actually learn about to
Hmm.
change their life. Because you're right, so many people's lives stop when someone else's does. They literally just go, all right, well, dad's dead. I don't have anything to left to live for. Let me just drink my life away and never move through it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Something just popped in when you were talking before. It's like coffins and coffee. Go and catch up for a coffee and talk about those people that have passed. Oh, it's
You know what I
brutal.
do for fun? Like, not for, I shouldn't say it's for fun.
Nah,
It
nah, it's
kind of
for
is.
fun.
It's for fun. I walk around cemeteries. I fucking love it.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
love it because well, it's very peaceful for me in a really strange way, and I've done it since I was a little girl. However, it almost just reminds me that this does happen. And like, it's just like that rewiring of like grief is real, death is real. And it almost allows you to be aware of it and not just imagining it doesn't fucking happen. Like people just think,
That's
but we don't die. Like we do. And it's teaching people to be okay with dying. Like when my time is here, I'm so excited. I can't wait to go into the afterlife. I'm fucking keen as a bean.
take me.
I'm just like, show me where I'm going to go. I have free range. What do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
but that comfortability gives you so much more freedom and being more present with life because you're not constantly in fear of, fuck, when am I going to die?
Well, when you say that like that, literally everything's based off when you're going to die.
Hmm.
All those timelines we just talked about. Well, I'm going to die someday. I better have kids. I'm going to die someday. I better get married and save up for this house I can't fucking afford.
Yeah.
It's like all those things that are so. Like, I'm glad they mean a lot to a lot of people and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
For me, dude, like, as you said, I'm so aware that, yeah, I could go today. I literally could drive to get fuel and just fucking run off the road or something, and not in a really morbid way, but just an acceptance of it. And that acceptance creates freedom. I'm sure you feel that too, yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah. Acceptance creates freedom. I love that.
To finish this off, because I could talk to you for another 17 hours, and this has been incredible. It feels like, do you feel like we just spoken for like 5 seconds?
Yeah, it's warpy as.
Yeah, yeah. I asked Christina this question. I really love this. If you were to, this is probably very ADHD of us, but when she listens to podcasts, she always just has this one takeaway from it rather than trying to remember everything.
Yeah,
What's
feel.
been your favorite takeaway from today and to share to the listener?
Oh, we've had so many good ones.
Mm.
There's been so many good ones. Can I pick all of them? I think what I really loved is showing the evidence of the mediumship, like watching you go through that. Like, I think that's going to be really potent and important for people to witness. Like, that in itself is a preview of how important this is when it comes to grief and your life.
Yes. That was the moment I was thinking of because, like I said at the start of this, I feel like I'm a bit of a bridge to this stuff
Yeah.
for the people that might not be into it because they can look at me and hear me and go, "Oh, he's just a normal dude," which I am. But I'm also so open to all the shit that they might never believe is true, that they might not, but they might push away and go, "Ah, it's just woo woo bullshit. I don't want anything to do with that." But, I want to be able to ground that sort of stuff and be like, "Hey, there's a connection here." And hey, whether it's real or not, whether it's true or not, you guys need to stop saying that and just be like, is it fucking valuable for me? Can I use this in life? Does
Mm.
it help me? Fantastic. Go use it.
Yeah.
That's all you can sort of take from that. So, dude, incredible. Like I think with everyone that I'm going to be getting on over this, because I'm loving this like online conversations. Like it's so easy.
Yeah.
I do love in person. Obviously, I'd love to do an in person with you at some point.
Yeah.
But just thank you for your time and just what you do. Obviously, I'd love for people to know, how do they book in and do this damn thing with you?
Yeah. Everything, all my socials, all my connections, website is Temika the Medium. Instagram is Temika the Medium, all one word. I think Facebook's my actual name, but I don't know. People still use it. If they do, it's just Temika Hill. However, everything else, TikTok is Temika the Medium, website and Insta is all that. So if they want to reach me, just go there. Same thing if like people have questions and they're just curious and like want to have a conversation, my DMs are open. Like if there's something that you want to talk to me first about, just voice note me, message me. Like I love to bridge that because sometimes I know it is scary for people to dive into this world. So it's almost like that beautiful connection before they have to or want to book. So anyone that has any questions, feel free to reach out to.
Beautiful. Thank you. Uh, if I was to ask you for one thing right now that's really potent for you to share, what's that one thing?
It's interesting because what's potent that for me to share right now is stay grounded in your own energy with everything that's happening around us at the moment.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll second that for anyone listening because right now, let me tell you, they are doing their best to scare everyone and keep you in
Hmm.
that fear based frequency because you're a lot easier to control and
Yeah.
manipulate and all the other things. So,
Yeah.
look to people like Tamika, like myself, listen to these podcasts and just know that, yeah, things, let's not escape the reality of a human experience right now. It's pretty scary. There's some stuff going on, but you don't have to be scared. It's like the chaos around you can still exist without you becoming chaotic yourself. I
Love
say
it.
this a lot to my clients. I've got a lot of single mums and stuff I work with who are incredible business owners that get a bit caught up in like the chaos of it all. And I'm like, hey, it's all good. Doesn't mean that you have to dive into that. Doesn't mean you have to become what it is around you. Essentially, for anyone listening, your internal state will actually be reflected in that external state a lot of the time.
Yep. I literally wrote an email about this today. Yeah.
There you go.
100%.
Perfect. Well, thank you, my friend. I'll
Thank
shut
you
this
for having
down. Thank you for everyone listening. As I said, always, I'm the technician, but I'd love you to be our technician. Please share this to your friends, to your stories, to us. Let us know what you took from it, and let's fucking go. Peace.
me. Yeehaw.